joining us today. We are really excited to be here and share with you a really awesome female artist named Lois Milou Jones. And she was born in 1905 and died in 1998. So, our mathematicians here, how old was she when she died? She had not had her birthday yet that year.
Wait, so when?
Born in 1905,
1905.
died in 1998.
1905, 92. Wait,
Yes. She was 92 when she died. She was born in Boston, where she lived for most of her life. Also lived in DC and New York and France and Haiti. She traveled quite a bit later in life, but she started out really interested in art from a very young age. In fact, she had her first solo exhibition when she was 18, which is really young and really awesome.
I'm really young.
You are really young. Lois Mailou Jones was really, really awesome. She painted and created for over 70 years. So she has this wonderful long art career where her style changed a number of times. She did different things throughout it. And she also taught for many, many, many years at Howard University for 47 years, but she had taught at other schools before that also. She was a huge support to young African American artists as she taught them at Howard University and then really championed them, helping them to get out there, get their art out there, and find success in the art world and get noticed more. So she was awesome. She worked so hard. Again, painting, creating for over 70 years. Now, she started out in textile design. What is textile design? This guy's got no idea. Do you know? Textile. Do you know?
I don't know, but I think it's patterns.
It does have to do with patterns, but in particular, it has to do with fabric. So there is fine art, which tends to be paintings and sculptures and stuff that you'd see in a museum, and then there's textile design. Every piece of fabric that you've ever worn or used as a blanket or a shower curtain or a regular curtain or a pillow or a blanket,
is that
towel,
fabric?
Any fabric was designed by somebody. And Lois Milou Jones did that to start her career, and she was really good at it. She was selling her designs to some big firms in New York. But one day she walked by a window and saw some of her fabrics and was like, oh, man, my name's not anywhere. Nobody knows I did that. And she wanted to be able to sign her name on her art. So she switched over to fine art. But let's look at some of her textiles real quick. And you can see her bright, bold designs, her patterns. As Grace here said, textiles often have patterns. Sometimes they're simple, sometimes they're complex. But have you ever thought about the fact that somebody designed those? They didn't just come to the store like that. Someone had to design them first. And as Lois realized, they don't really get a lot of name recognition. And they should, because that's hard work. So looking at some of her designs here, they're awesome. And then, as I said, she kind of transferred over to fine arts. One of her most famous paintings is The Ascent of the Ethiopian, which she painted in 1932. Again, look at those bold colors. And she was using storytelling here in this painting to tell the story of her people. She was very influenced. I'd said she'd traveled a bit over to France. When she went to France, she enjoyed a freedom that she hadn't been able to experience really at home because of segregation and racism that had kept her in her career. She hadn't been allowed to enter certain shows, and she brought her work to galleries and they'd said, nope, sorry, we can't show your work here. And she enjoyed this freedom in France that was really liberating and really helpful. And while many people throughout their lives have had to move for a career change and stuff, they should never have to move because back home they aren't given opportunities because of the color of their skin or their gender or their religion or anything like that. So it's such a shame because art is an expression of ourselves. Art is a way that we share ourselves with others and our voices are heard. And the more voices we hear, the more beautiful our world is. And so in France, she started to really get confidence and momentum in her career. And like I said, she was very influenced by African masks and design. And she married somebody from Haiti, and they spent a lot of time going to Haiti and back again, and was very influenced by the bright colors there. And you can see some of these colors, like in Moon Mask here that she painted in 1971. You can always see her strong design background in the patterns that she has in her artwork. Another one with bold, strong colors and a story to tell is Initiation Liberia, painted in 1983. And Glyphs, you see here, painted in 1985. Again, she painted for over 70 years, so this is only 4 examples. Please, I really encourage you to look elsewhere and see more of her work and hear more of her story. In particular, go to this interview on Good Morning America, where you get to hear the artist herself talk about her art, because I'm only touching on her career that lasted for over 70 years. She did so many amazing things. And our art project that we're going to do today is actually based on her textile designs, where she started. We're going to start where she started, okay? Textile designs, again, is the design on fabric. And a lot of them are very simple, but all of them had to be designed by someone. You might have a simple striped pattern. This just has 2 colors, and it's repeating. It's a pattern. Red, white, red, white, red, white. Or a simple polka dot pattern. Your shirt with its stripes. My vest. Your stripes might get a little more complicated, like on this bandana, where there's more colors, and it's like, you know, turquoise, light purple, dark purple, light blue, thicker light blue, purple. It's a little more complicated of a pattern. Stripes may get more complicated too, like on Daddy's shirt. It's Daddy's shirt, but it's a pattern that somebody designed. Instead of just stripes, we've got lines going this way and lines going this way. The lines may be all the same size, or like in this butterfly scarf, they might be different sizes. Before it was very orderly. This isn't orderly, because butterflies don't fly very orderly. And so they're kind of scattered all over our scarf here. Pajamas. Somebody designed your pajama fabric.
I have some pants to it.
Well, I would hope so. So here we have 2 monkeys upright, 1 pink monkey down, 2 monkeys upright, and it just repeats and repeats. Even your stuffed animals, the fabric your stuffed animals are made out of, somebody designed that fabric. Reusable grocery bags, somebody designed that fabric. Somebody like Lois Milou Jones. So go ahead and pause the video here, and I want you to go run around your house for a second if you're at home and look for a pattern and come bring it back. If you're at school, look at the clothes you're wearing. That might be a good start. Or think about patterns that you have at home. So pause, think about that, or go find something and come on back. All right, did you find something? Most likely as you walked around your house, you suddenly saw lots and lots of things. Even better if the fabric you find tells a story about your background. Either your heritage, you might have to go ask your mom and dad, hey, where were our ancestors from? Or you could use something personally relevant like her baby blanket or his baby blanket, or, you know, a bag that your Nana made you. So if you can find some fabric that has personal significance to you, even better, because remember, the artist we're studying today painted stuff inspired by her background, her heritage, and used those colors and those patterns in her paintings. So I want you to look at your fabric and answer these questions. And if you're in a classroom, go ahead and turn to your neighbor and answer it. If you're at home and have siblings doing this with you, talk to them, or just talk back to the screen to me. I'm listening. So look at your fabric and answer this question. What kinds of lines do I see in my fabric? Are they straight? Are they curvy? Are they thin? Are they thick? Are they dotted? Are they solid? What kind of lines do you see in your fabric? Go ahead and answer. All right, so those were your lines. Now look at your fabric. What kinds of colors do you have? Young kids, just tell me what colors you see. Do you see blue? Do you see red? Older kids, tell me what kinds of colors. Do you see warm colors? Do you see bright colors? Do you see calm colors or excited colors? What kinds of colors do you see in your fabric? Go ahead and answer.
Excited.
Next question, looking at your fabric. Does your design on your fabric, does it repeat? Do you see repeating? And if it does, go ahead and explain the pattern that is repeated. For me, 2 brown monkeys standing up, 1 pink monkey upside down. That's the pattern that's repeated. All right, go ahead. What kind of pattern does your fabric have? Excellent. We are going to do a painting inspired by the fabric you chose. So you don't have to copy it exactly, although you can. You also could learn by copying one of Lois Milou Jones's designs. Do you know that artists in art schools for years used to spend time just copying master artists. They didn't, the important thing here is that if you copy an artist, you don't go try to sell it or win an award with it saying it's all you. You need to give credit where credit's due. And really we just copy to learn and to practice, and then we can throw it away. So if you want to go ahead and copy it, you can do that, trying to learn from her use of colors, or you can use your pattern. Or you can just say, all right, I have monkeys, and light blue, brown, and pink is my color scheme. So what kind of pattern could I make up with drawing monkeys of my own using those 3 colors? That would be doing an artwork inspired by somebody else's design. Young students, let's keep this real simple. Go ahead and take your piece of paper. You guys don't do this with yours, okay? Or parents of young students or teachers of young students, fold it in half. Long ways, hot dog, fold it in half, again the other direction, so that you have a grid of 4. This way your pattern you can repeat 4 times. Go ahead and have your student in the first square do a design. Keep it simple, like a circle or a star, something they can do on their own. It's really best if they come up with a design on their own as opposed to you drawing it and just having them color it in. So have them do something here in this square, rectangle, and then ask them to repeat it here, here, and here. So young students, that's your assignment. All right, that's also a good warm-up too for older students if you want us to do that as a warm-up. Older students, we're using our fabric as an inspiration, and we're gonna use watercolor paints because Lois Milou Jones was a watercolor artist, which is awesome because I'm a watercolor artist. I really, really like watercolor artists. That's what she taught at Howard. She taught design and watercolor. Something really important to remember is that watercolor is transparent. So if you're going to paint a background, if you paint the background first and it's a bright color, and then you go to paint, say, a yellow sun on top of that, what's going to happen? You are going to see, it's not going to mix because my blue is dry, but you are going to see the yellow coming through, or sorry, the blue coming through, meaning I am not going to be able to get a very bright yellow. It's going to look much more green because of the blue coming through, which is nice if you want it to look like that, not nice if you're trying to get a really nice bright sun. Hold on. Grace mentioned it might mix. Watercolor loves to mix. So if you paint that nice blue background and it's still wet, remember with watercolor you got to keep dipping your brush in the water. You want your brush to be nice and wet for it to spread that paint. So I painted the nice blue background, it's still wet, and I'm like, I'm going to paint the sun before it dries. Perfect. What's going to happen? It's not going to be able to have nice sharp lines like I had over here. It's going to all spread out and kind of mix together. So if you want sharp lines, they need to be dry before moving on to the next one. However, if you want that yellow to be nice and bright on its own, you're going to want to paint it first. So if you don't want to wait till that yellow dot is dry, then paint carefully around it. Don't let your brush touch the yellow. Leave the blank paper barrier. This white line keeps the yellow from mixing into my blue. If I even touch into there, then it's going to start to mix out, and I've ruined that sharp line. So that's your watercolor tip for the day. Before you just start painting, you might want to take a second, think through your design. Like I said, for mine, I would be doing monkeys in the color scheme of brown, pink, and blue. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that. I'm going to think to myself, is it repeating? Is it repeating like in a line, or is it kind of scattered across? Are they all the same size, or some bigger? Am I varying the lines? All those art questions that we can ask ourselves as we come up with our design. So think about it, plan it. If you want light colors like yellow, you're going to want to do those first before you paint the background. So go ahead and get painting. Are still working hard on their designs, but I've gone ahead and jumped right into my painting, which you can see here. And it's designing my imaginary textile, inspired actually by the kind of kimono blouse thing that I'm wearing here. So when I say inspired by, again, I'm not trying to copy it exactly, but here I have those diamonds, and kind of here, down here, I have those triangles, and then I have flowers in the middle. So it's inspired by it, kind of the color scheme, some of the patterns seen in there, but then I've made it my own, which is a really great thing to do when you're learning about new artists, is to create something inspired by them, but put your own meaning, your own background, your own ideas into it to make it you instead of just trying to be somebody else. So again, thank you for joining us. Please click on the links that I'll include in the description to learn more about Lois Milou Jones. I'll include a couple of more links to other YouTube videos and also some great articles. And take the opportunity to go look at a lot more of her work. She is really, really awesome, and I did not even begin to do her justice here. Just wanted to give you a little taste, introduce you to her, and let you have fun creating art. So thank you for joining us. Happy arting!